"You're under arrest for impersonating a federal officer." That's what the rookie cop said to my 68-year-old father, in front of 15 neighbors filming with their phones. He was still holding a watering can. My 12-year-old son was crying. "My name is Special Agent John Miller, and here's how a convicted felon posing as an HOA president attempted to ruin my family and succeeded. Almost let me demonstrate how it began. The storm on our lawn suburbia is all about peacefulness. Lawn mowers and lemonade on Saturday afternoons, not threats and accusations. But on that morning, tranquility came to an end in our block when Karen Walsh came onto our property, clipboard clutched, fury in her eyes. Your lawn is 3.2 inches high. The norm is 3.0. That will be a $200 fine. Your vehicle was 2 inches beyond the driveway line. $150. This gnome, unapproved. $100. My dad, Frank, the kindest man I know, merely nodded, but something changed in his eyes. He wasn't mad. He was thinking. Karen didn't know it yet, but the man she was scolding was a retired FBI legend who'd put away dozens of white criminals, and she might have been one of them. Triggers and revelations when Karen spotted my son Sam and began scolding him about respecting authority. My dad's calm shattered. "Some folks think they are better than the law," she said to Sam. "But there are rules in this community, and I enforce them," Sam exclaimed. "But Grandpa always obeys rules. He was a government man arresting bad people." Karen's smile broke out. A clue. Something in her expression changed, like she just discovered a missing piece to an old puzzle. That's when my father leaned in close to me and whispered, 25 years ago I ruined her life. I think she remembers. The family meeting, our family gathered around the dinner table that evening, no longer father, son, and grandson, but as a retired FBI agent, an active agent, and a possible target. Her actual name is Linda Ross, Dad told us. She stole $2 million from children's charities. I was the agent who had testified against her. She vowed revenge before the court could pass judgment on her. And then, I confessed as well. "Dad, I'm not a consultant, I'm a federal agent as well. Financial Crimes Division." His eyes bulged, not with fear, but with pride. But Sam, young and quick on his feet, did what we were all thinking. If she doesn't know who you both are, maybe she'll slip. Karen's offensive the following morning. She came back with backup neighbors in tow. "There's no license for your consulting firm," she said. "People like you can bring down an entire neighborhood." It wasn't just about grass anymore. She was constructing a public smear campaign, making our neighbors jurors, our block a courtroom. So I did something she didn't anticipate. I flashed her my badge. Special Agent John Miller, FBI. The silence was deafening. Karen didn't back down. "That badge might be fake. If you are who you claim, you don't know with whom you're dealing with. The question is, will you stop me before I destroy everything you love?" War goes public. Karen's attack went viral the following day. She wrote on the HOA forum, "FBI imposters threatening civilians. Protect your community." Charts, photos, timelines. She made us out to be a sleeper cell in suburbia. Then there was the store altercation. Karen yelled down the aisles, "Refuse them service. They're impersonating federal agents." Phones were out. Customers frozen. My son's voice shook. "Dad, why is she doing this to us?" That evening, she smashed a neighborhood coffee shop, waving flyers, presenting evidence. This is how criminals hide behind fake badges and perfect lawns. And worse, she demanded an emergency HOA meeting. Exposed and cornered Karen, put on the show of a lifetime at Betty's residence. These people display unexplained wealth, fake jobs, and now they're threatening your neighbors. She ended with, "People like this don't just lie about careers, they lie about everything," but she didn't know what we had. My son Sam, with his innocent charm, had overheard everything and recorded it. "Once I expose the fake FBI family, I'll control the HOA. No more opposition. I'll hike fees, make examples. They'll beg to leave." She wasn't concerned with justice. She was concerned with power, control, revenge. The final strike, the coup de grace, occurred when she appeared on live television. They're frauds. Con artists pretending to be federal agents. What kind of FBI lives in the suburbs? Her falsehoods were honed, rehearsed, lethal. The news traveled quickly. Even friends started doubting us. But what she didn't know was that her own words were going to be her downfall. With my dad's connections, I sent her recording along with her actual name to the DOJ. They reopened her file. Linda Ross, parole violator, convicted felon, and now, charged with harassment, impersonation, and community fraud. When karma comes calling in black SUVs the following morning, unmarked cars drove onto our street. Karen Linda stood in her driveway, still barking orders at a neighbor about mailbox color. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for violating federal parole and engaging in harassment under false pretense." The same words she used on my dad, now used on her. The neighborhood watched in stunned silence as the woman they trusted was led away. She looked at me, not angry, defeated. Peace returns. Frank returned to gardening. Sam started writing a school essay called "How My Grandpa and Dad Saved Our Neighborhood." Neighbors apologized. Some brought cookies. Even Betty smiled again. As for me, next time someone shows up with a clipboard and a fake smile, I'll be ready with badge, memory, and a very sharp lawnmower. After the arrest, but before the peace, you'd expect once the FBI whisks away your neighbor in front of the whole block, things to settle down, but you'd be mistaken. 3 nights after they hauled Karen, or I should say, Linda Ross away, we discovered a note. No envelope, no stamp, just a folded piece of paper stuck under our front door. "The garden is only the surface. You cut one root, but the system still grows." No signature, no explanation, but the message was clear. Linda wasn't just acting. As a rogue HOA president, she was part of something more, something organized. The treasurer's house. It began with an audit. Following Linda's arrest, the HOA board was set to transition leadership, but their treasurer, Mr. Palmer, wouldn't budge. "We can't turn over the books. Too much chaos. Let's wait until things settle down." That's when my dad's instincts took over. "Chaos is the time to discover the truth," Frank grumbled. I concurred, and began a stealthy investigation. That evening, out walking the dog, I saw Mr. Palmer's garage lights were still on. Inside, he wasn't keeping tools. He had bank statements, spreadsheets, and a second phone, one of those prepaid burners you only use if you don't want to get tracked. Sam's discovery, on the other hand, Sam, ever inquisitive, ever genial, came charging into the living room the following morning. "Dad, see this." He brought up the HOA website archive. Linda had been directing excessive violation fees into a side account titled Community Emergency Security Initiative. But that account wasn't spent on cameras or lighting. It ended up in private PayPal accounts, bogus invoices, and consulting fees. Thousands of dollars, vanishing month by month. They were operating a fraud ring within a neighborhood HOA, and we were just the family that stepped in their way. Someone's still watching us. A week later, our security camera caught a stranger at 3:14 a.m. A man in a hoodie came up our driveway, stopped, faced the camera straight on, then departed. Nothing taken, nothing uttered, just a warning. Sam discovered the gnome on our porch the next morning smashed into pieces. "They're giving us a warning," Dad said sternly. I'd seen this move before. Pressure, provoke, isolate. Whoever Linda was working with, they were still out there somewhere, watching, plotting, the Conference of Control, Florida. I said incredulously. Frank nodded, scrolling through the encrypted email chain on his laptop. "Annual HOA Compliance Summit. It's but Palmer's name is on the attendee list." We had followed Linda's bank trail to a shell company, connected to a consulting firm in Tampa. Now we had evidence. This wasn't just a couple of renegade HOA board members. This was an organization, with training, chain of command, and financial plan, and they were convening in one location, preparing for the mission. Frank dubbed it Operation Clean Sweep. We were going in as Frank, disguised as a retired real estate investor, me, disguising myself as his daughter, a compliance consultant from Austin, Sam, remaining backstage, to cover from the home base and send comms with us, hidden mix-burner phone spy Penzand, phony credentials supported by a real estate shell firm from Frank's days in Fed. When we got into the action, it was like we were in the field again. Only this time, the war was fought among suits, wine glasses, and HOA bylaws. Inside the conference was conducted at a resort. On the surface, it appeared to be any industry gathering, printed name tags, plastic lanyards, breakfast, buffets, but sinister was the terminology, effective fining policies for non-compliant residents, surveillance best practices in contemporary neighborhoods, emotional containment, controlling uprising in minority homeowner populations. They weren't controlling communities, they were controlling control. The meeting behind closed doors. Frank received an invitation to a closed-door cocktail party. There, he encountered Daniel Voss, HOA attorney, consultant, and the guy who bankrolled Linda Ross. "Some communities just require a tighter leash," Voss declared. "Too much freedom creates instability. We bring order." Frank pretended not to understand. Let him ramble. "We mark houses, early late payments, too many visitors, flags that don't fit code. It's all data. Then we squeeze them until they move or cooperate. They had databases. They were monitoring homeowners county to county, applying AI to determine who'd resist and who'd fold. Sam's discovery in real time at home. Sam received a message. It was a flag generated by facial recognition at the resort. Dad, know who you are. A picture of Frank entering the event lobby had been posted to a secure Slack-style HOA network. Possible breach. Flagged subject. Match Federal. I discovered Frank at the bar by the pool and whispered, "We're blown." He didn't blink, just finished his drink and said, "Go now. Back entrance. I'll draw attention." I delayed. "Don't argue. Move." I slunk out, my heart pounding. 20 minutes later, Frank arrived at the emergency rendezvous point. His sleeve ripped, but alive. A new threat. We thought we escaped unscathed. But 2 days after the getaway, a drone passed over our backyard. Sam attempted to jam the signal, but the drone released a small, wrapped package before crashing in the trees. And what was inside? A HOA sign, tiny, spray-painted red, and one word etched in the wood: retaliation. HOA exposed, live. But we never saw her last move coming. Cold open, live on camera. An unsteady live stream commences. Natasha glares into the lens of the phone, voice shaking but resolute. "This is being recorded and broadcast to 7 private cloud servers. In case something happens to us, you'll know who did it." Behind her, Frank inserts a hard drive into a secret storage space in the kitchen counter. They're not afraid, they're prepared. The breaking point: Frank was arrested last night. Not by officers, by private security men who pretended to be HOA marshals. They burst into the house with flashlights, zip ties, and HOA intervention orders. It took every favor left in his inventory to escape, and while he was held, Sam disappeared. The warning call. Natasha received a call at 3 a.m., a mangled voice. "You want your son back. Stop digging. We warned you, nobody messes with the foundation." She rewound the voicemail on the live stream. "This is who controls your neighborhoods. Not your neighbors, a company founded on control, fear, and silence. Linda's ultimate move. The foundation exposed at sunrise." Natasha arrived at the HOA headquarters, not by herself. She had in tow the surveillance cam evidence from the conference, the accounting trail linking Voss to several chalet shows, and printed list of 25 families, names of innocent families, tormented, fined, or forced out by HOA. Oppression waiting in ambush. Linda Ross, still unruffled, still potent. "You people never learn," Linda sneered. "You think you're the first family to try this. They all fold eventually." Natasha slid the flash drive across the table. "You're right, they fold. But we're not like them." She pressed a button. The file began uploading to every news outlet, housing justice page, and former agent contact Frank had. Sam returns, but not alone. Just as the data transfer completes, the front door opens. Sam arrives, accompanied by 2 federal marshals. He's safe, and he came with friends. It turns out that Sam had triggered a panic function built into an old smartwatch his grandfather had given him. The feds did not only rescue Sam, they also raided for bogus HOA office centers. That same morning, Linda's downfall, but not silence. Linda gets arrested. But as they're walking her out, she turns to Natasha. "You think this is over with me? We are in your neighborhoods, your banks, your schools." She flashes a smile. "You won the street, but you haven't won the war." 1 month later, a quiet victory. The HOA is disbanded. Dozens of families step forward. Lawsuits are filed. News crews flood the gates. Natasha and Frank open a local housing advocacy center. Frank's quiet again. Sam's back in school. But Natasha keeps the camera running always. Because power doesn't disappear, it mutates. And this time, we'll be ready. The end.